Omagana Trimendashigana Gana Salakaya Chaksusu Umiltan Yena Tasmasi Guravi Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishta Stapita Yena Bhutale Sanyarupa Kadama Yandadati Swampadantikan Bandeham Siguru Siyutam Padakamalan Siguru Vaishnavascha Sirupan Sarajata Sagana Raghunatha Vitantan Sajivan Sadhuitan Sagadutan Parijana Saitan Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devan Sri Radha Krishna Padasahagana Lalita Sri Vishakavitamsya Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantu Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radha Vrindamaniswari Vishavana Sutadevi Panamami Haripaye Banchaka Patarabhyascha Kripa Sindhi Vacha Patitanam Pavanavibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo 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 Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Goratise Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Siva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Anandalila Maya Vigraja Mabada Vichave Sundaraya Tasma Maha Prema Rasa Padaya Chaitanya Chandra Nama Namastute Chaitanya Chandra Nama Namastute Chaitanya Chandra Nama Namastute. So I thank everyone for being here this evening, 8th of January, from here Vrindavan, and also those who are listening to Vrindavan TV. So it's our nightly discussion on the Bhagavad-Gita. Bhagavad-Gita as it is. So we are back to the beginning of the Bhagavad-Gita. And before we get into the first chapter, which is called Vishada Yoga, or the Yoga of Dejection, first there is the introduction by Srila Prabhupada. It's a very wonderful introduction, several pages, very, very long introduction, almost 30 pages. Yeah. So, we know that Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad-Gita to his dear devotee, Arjuna, 5,000 years ago, just before the beginning of the battle of Kurukshetra, before the beginning of the great battle. And of course, this great battle was not an ordinary battle. It's Dharma Yudh is religious war, religious fighting, because the fighting was meant to establish the religious principle. As Lord Krishna says that Yada idamasya glani bhavati bharata abhyutana madamasya tadatmana sujamyaham, that whenever there is predominance of irreligious activities, then the Lord comes. He comes to establish the principles of religion. And of course, the Lord does this through his devotees. Because according to the historical record, the dear devotee, the Pandavas, who were great Kshatriyas, their kingdom was unfairly taken away from them, whereby they are supposed to rule. But they were cheated out of their kingdom. Even though there were so many discussions, meetings, to try to get the Kauravas to return the kingdom of the Pandavas, even to some elements of the kingdom, even not even the whole thing. Even Lord Krishna asked for 5 villages because by Dharma, the Pandavas, they are Kshatriyas, rulers. They have to rule. They are according to their Dharma. And everyone in this material world, they have to act according to what they are suited to do, to their Dharma, or let's say in respect to Varnashram Dharma, according to their particular Varnas, their classifications. So the Pandavas, they are meant to rule. So by taking away their kingdom, it's like depriving them of their religious duties. So this is what out of greed, the Kauravas, headed by Duryodhana, this is what they've done. So Lord Krishna himself, he went to Hastinapur to try to get the Kauravas to see the reason that you should not give what is due to the Pandavas, give to them. Still, the Kauravas, they will not yield. They said, no, we are not going to give them anything. We're not even going to give them even a place to even put a needle on the ground. This is how mad they were. Then Lord Krishna said, okay, there's going to be war. There's going to be fighting. And of course, so many atrocities that the Kauravas committed. So many atrocities. Like so many instances. They tried to kill the Pandavas. The Pandavas' wife was insulted. So many things like this. So now, the battlefield has been set. The scene of the battle is there. All the parties, they all assembled on the battle of Kurukshetra. They all assembled. The party of the Kauravas and the party of Pandavas. So they all assembled. So in the beginning, when Krishna was driving Arjuna's chariot. So Arjuna took Lord Krishna's Ramadye, Ubaya Madye, Stapayami Achyuta, that take my chariot to the Ubaya means the middle, the both parties. Ubaya Madye means to the middle of both parties, which means the party of the Kauravas and the party of the Pandavas. So Arjuna told Arjuna that, please place my chariots in the middle of these warriors of both sides so that I can see who has come to fight, and especially those who have come to please the evil-minded Duryodhana. Those who have come to please him. So then Lord Krishna took the chariots into the battle, into the middle of the both sides, and then Arjuna made a survey. He see both sides. And then of course Arjuna, he saw that both sides, they're actually family members. So Arjuna could see his the friends, the grandfathers, the gurus, the sons, cousins, nephews, he could see everyone, relatives, he could see. And then Arjuna became dejected. He said, oh, is this battle? Is it meant for me to become victorious so that I can enjoy? And if I have to enjoy, the same people that I'm supposed to be enjoying the kingdom with, the same are now on this battlefield. So if when they all kill, who am I going to enjoy the kingdom with when all the relatives are killed? After all, you cannot stay in an empty house by yourself. If you stay in an empty house, that is not fun. Anyway, so Arjuna gave so many reasons. Then Arjuna said, okay, I'm not going to fight. Why will I fight? Let me just go to the forest. And then Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad-Gita. So Bhagavad-Gita was spoken on the battle. It was spoken to incite Arjuna to fight. So which means, like many people, they try to use Bhagavad-Gita for non-violence. They try to spread the so-called non-violence message by using Bhagavad-Gita. But now, Bhagavad-Gita was spoken on the battlefield to encourage Arjuna to fight. And fighting means violence. So how can you use Bhagavad-Gita to preach non-violence? And of course, we know in this material world, any activity that we are performing, that we're engaging in, that it's not leading us to getting out of this material world, it's basically violence. We are actually, the soul, actually our day in, day out, we are committing violence unto ourselves. So in the ultimate situation, we can say that, okay, yes, Bhagavad-Gita was spoken so that Arjuna can fight. But at the same time, the Gita was spoken so that the living entities can ultimately know about their constitutional position and about getting out of this material world by understanding their relationship with the Lord. So ultimately, the ultimate non-violence, which is to where the soul can be liberated from the material world. So that's, of course, that's the ultimate science of the Bhagavad-Gita, of course. But Bhagavad-Gita cannot be used for a mundane, so-called non-violence. It cannot be used for that. So now, I'm going to read the introduction, which Srila Prabhupada had written. So I guess the different speaker of the Bhagavad Gita every night, they are taking turns to read the introduction. So we're going to. So now I'm in the middle here. I'm page number 12. If you have the book with you, page number 12. Page 12, second paragraph. You have it? Page 12, second paragraph. So I'm going to read that. So Srila Prabhupada writing, we shall find, therefore, in this Bhagavad Gita that the complete whole is comprised of the Supreme Controller, the controlled living entities, the cosmic manifestation, eternal time and karma or activities, and all of these are explained in this text. All of this taken completely from the complete whole, and the complete whole is called the Supreme Absolute Truth. The complete whole and the complete Absolute Truth are the complete personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. All manifestations are due to his different energies. He is the complete whole. Because basically within Bhagavad-Gita, there are 5 topics which are discussed in the Bhagavad-Gita. There are 5 subjects, which are the living entity, Prakriti, means the nature, the Supreme Lord, eternal time, and then one more, karma. So those are the 5 topics which you find in Bhagavad-Gita. So now which means the Bhagavad-Gita it contains the topmost science of reality, the topmost science. This kind of knowledge that you find in Bhagavad-Gita, you don't find it in any university. And people are going to university to get big degrees. Big degrees they are getting in the universities. MA, PhD, DSc, all that kind of degrees. And I know people who have several PhDs in science. I know one person who actually got 3 or 4. Actually, we have one of our devotees in Washington, D.C. And this devotee, she has 4 degrees, 4 PhDs. 4 PhDs, and she worked with the State Department in America. 4 PhDs. But, people have all these degrees, still, they still don't know themselves. They don't know who they are. You have all this accumulation of knowledge, still you don't know who you are. You don't know what is the purpose of life. How to get out of the material tabernacle. Constantly the samsara being recycled, being rolled again and again, being tossed here and there in the ocean of materialistic existence. Like Bhakti Thakur is Michi Maya Bose, Yacha Bese, Kacha Abab Dubai. So the living entity is being tossed again and here and there by the ocean of material existence, and they don't know how to get out. So that's why the Acharya say, if you come to a sadhu, a self-realized person, you come to him, that person can actually enable you to get out of this ocean, this terrible ocean of birth and death. Can help you to get out. There's just no other way. Like yesterday, we were discussing in the Bhagavatam class yesterday of how this material ocean is there, and the living entities seems that there is no way out. They can get out of this ocean, this materialistic ocean. And out of this ocean, how does it come about? It comes about due to ignorance of turning one's back away from Krishna, from the Lord. So therefore, you are pulled into the ocean of material existence. So now, how to stop this ocean? How to cross over this ocean? How to get out? Only when the knowledge is acquired. The knowledge of what? The knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Here, this text we are reading here, Prabhupada said, the understanding of the complete whole and the complete absolute truth. If this is understood, then a person can become free. In the Upanishad said, Om Punam Mada Punamidam, Om Punam Punapidachyate Punasya the Puna Eva Sisate. So it's talking about the complete whole, the complete is one and complete. Even though so many emanations are coming from him, he still remains complete whole. As you can see. Normally in the material world, there is something, you take away something from that something, there's a diminution there, that diminish. That is the material world. You take away something, that what you take away from that particular object diminish. But the Supreme Lord is not like that. So many diverse universal manifestations, living entities, coming from him, it still remains the same. So many fragmentations are coming out of him. It still remains the same. The Lord said, Mama Ivaso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Manasa Stanindriane Prakriti Stani Kasa. The Lord said, so many living entities are my eternal part and parcel. Mama Eva, so you mean they're my, the Lord said, my answer. They're my parts. Fragmented parts. They are coming from me, emanating from me. But still the Lord does not remain diminished in any way. The Lord is not diminished in any way. Just like the ocean is there. The ocean, so many rivers are running to the ocean. The ocean remains the same. So similarly also, many entities coming out of the body of the Lord, and some are going to his body, but still the Lord remains the same. So I continue to reading. It is also explained in the Gita that impersonal Brahman is also subordinate to the complete Supreme Person. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Brahman is more explicitly explained in the Brahma Sutra to be like the rays of the sunshine. The impersonal Brahman is the shining rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonal Brahman is incomplete realization of the absolute truth. And so also is the conception of Paramatma. In the 15th chapter, it shall be seen that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purushottama, is above both impersonal Brahman and the partial realization of Paramatma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Sachidananda Vigraha. The Brahma Samhita begins in this way: Ishwara Paramakrishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anandi Adi Govindaha Sabha Karana Karanam. Govinda, Krishna, is the cause of all causes. He is the primary cause, and he is the very form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Impersonal Brahma realization is the realization of his Sat eternity feature. Paramatma realization is the realization of Sat Chit, eternal knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead Krishna is realization of all the transcendental features, Satchit and Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss, in complete Vigraha form. So in the Bhagavatam it says that Vadanti Tatatva Vedas, Tato Yaj Gyana Advayam, Brahmeti, Paramatma iti, Bhagavan iti Sagyate. So the learned, the knower of the absolute truth, they call it Vedanti. Vedanti, the knower, those who knows, the Vedas, those who know the absolute truth. So the absolute truth is described to be Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Three aspects of the absolute truth. Like the example is given that sometimes, let's say you are at the railway station. You are at the railway station, and then you hear some sound, the train sound coming. So when they say, when you hear when the train is coming, you know that the train is coming. So the train, you know that, okay, the train is coming. And then as the train approaches, you can see the body of the train. The train approaches, almost reaching the station. So you see the body of the train. And then when the train stops, and then you can open the door, you can go inside, you can see the varieties of the train that is there. So the understanding of the absolute truth is like that. So the Brahman, which is the impersonal conception, which actually basically represents the bodily rays of the Lord. The absolute truth is not, the Lord is not, absolute is not known, but it's known by these rays, this light. There's no form there. No form is there, but want to understand that this is the totality of all beings. So, like for instance, the impersonalists are like those who are in the fourth stage of spiritual realization. So the impersonalists, they meditate. This is the focus of their meditation. This impersonal Brahmajyoti in the impersonal light. So this is the beginning stage of trying to understand the absolute. And then, when one becomes further advanced in spiritual knowledge, when one becomes further advanced, then there's the realization of the Paramatma, which is the localized feature of the absolute. Just like when the train is come, then the train is approaching, then you can see the body of the train. So the yogis, they meditate on the Paramatma. So within their heart, they can visualize that the form of the Lord, the Paramatma feature of the Lord is there. Super soul, basically. And then, when one becomes further advanced in spiritual knowledge, and especially when one comes to meet, when one get the grace of a pure devotee of the Lord, then the realization of Bhagavan is achieved. So Bhagavan is complete realization of the Supreme Personality of God, whereby one come to understand Krishna, the Supreme Lord, as Lord. The Lord said, Vasudevan Savamiti, Sam Mahatma Sudulaba. So one can come to understand the Lord as He is. And is at that stage of knowing who the Lord is, that is the stage by which one render devotional service unto the Lord. Because having come to realize the Supreme Lord, His personality is Satchitananda in eternal form. His form is eternal, bliss, full of knowledge, and full of bliss. Then what do one do? One render devotional service to Him. It's not that those who have realized Bhagavan, it's not that they just sit in one place and simply look at the Lord. No, they render devotional service. And it's in that devotional service, bhakti, that's how they get the they get to relish this unlimited happiness by virtue of being engaging in the devotional service of the Lord. And then there's a realization of the relationship that is there. Relationship whereby one gets to know who am I, either my, well, we have, there are 5 types of perfection: Santarati, Dasyarati, Sakyarati, Madhyarati, Vatsayarati, and Madhyarati. 5 aspects, which comes when there is understanding of knowing who Krishna is and what is my relationship with Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada continues. He said, people with less intelligence consider the supreme truth to be impersonal, but he is a transcendental person, and this is confirmed in all Vedic literatures. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam, from Katha Upanishad. So Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam, the eternal person by whom all other eternals, they are emanating from him, coming from him. The Lord is the supreme eternal, and all your eternals, which means all the jivas, they are also eternal, so they are coming from him. So this is in the Katha Upanishad 2.13. As we are all individual living beings and have our individuality, the supreme absolute truth is also in the ultimate issue a person, and realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features in his complete form. The complete whole is not formless. If he is formless, or if he is less than any other thing, then he cannot be the complete whole. The complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience. Otherwise, it cannot be complete. So this is how the complete whole has been defined here. The complete whole, it's there in the Upanishads. It remains complete always. And there can be no such a thing that he has no form. He has got a form. Because if he doesn't have form, how can we see varieties of form within the manifestations? So he's the original form, and all other forms originate from him only. So Srila Prabhupada always say, those who are less intelligent, those who are fond of knowledge, they always start to characterize the Lord to be impersonal. He has no form. And not just that, they will give their own interpretation of the Bhagavad-Gita. Like when Krishna said that Savadama Pratyagya Mamikam Sanam Braja, that give up everything, just surrender unto me only. They say, when you hear this Savadama Mamikam Sanam Braja, means that surrender to that impersonal aspect. Surrender to that impersonal God, formless God. Become nothing. Surrender means, become nothing. Nirvana. So that is the idea of surrender. Become nothing. And then when you become nothing, you become very happy. You will attain, bliss, because you become nothing. Because to them, the whole idea that you are something, you are somebody, that's why you are miserable in this world. That's why you're not happy. because you think you are someone. So therefore you're not happy. But once you know that you are nothing, nothingness, then you attain happiness. You become bliss. Now I am nothing. You know. So therefore, like Papa always say that all these rascals, you know, that's devoid of knowledge, devoid of intelligence. The impersonal, the Mayavadis. In the beginning of the ISKCON movement in America, Srila Prabhupada was always, every lecture, always emphasizing about this impersonalist. How they try to make you as nothing. God is nothing. So the Srila Prabhupada will always call these fools and rascals, you know. So when devotees, when they were hearing this, again and again from Prabhupada, so devotees, they were discussing among themselves that, oh, Swamiji must have fought with this impersonalist in India. Well, he must have fought with them in India, so now he's chastising them. Of course, because they could not understand how, you know, this Salem kind of philosophy, that Swamiji must have fought with this impersonalist in India, because they don't know what is impersonalist, you know. So, you know, how can you be nothing? You have to be something. Even the very fact you say I, which means you are somebody, even that word I means you are somebody. And you cannot negate that I-ness, you can't negate it. You are somebody, the Supreme Lord is somebody, he is the Supreme Person, the Supreme Body. And of course, the Lord Krishna said, that individual soul is part of me. So Srila Prabhupada continue. He said that the complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies. Parasha Shakti Vividaiva Sruyate. How Krishna is acting in different potencies is also explained in Bhagavad-Gita. This phenomenal world or material world in which we are placed is also complete in itself, because the 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation, according to Sankhya philosophy, are completely adjusted to produce complete resources, which are necessary for the maintenance and subsistence of this universe. There is nothing extraneous, nor is there anything needed. This manifestation has its own time fixed by the energy of the Supreme Whole. And when its time is complete, these temporary manifestations will be annihilated by the complete arrangements of the complete. There is complete facility for the small complete units, namely the living entities, to realize the complete and all sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete. So, Bhagavad-Gita contains the complete knowledge of Vedic wisdom. So the Bhagavad-Gita is the topmost science. The topmost science of divinity, it's Bhagavad-Gita. And Bhagavad-Gita is said to be the most confidential knowledge. And what is that confidential? It's not always within the domain of everyone. It's not always within the domain. And that's why Bhagavad-Gita was hidden. It was inside the Mahabharata. It wasn't just, it's not a scripture on its own. It's right inside the Mahabharata. And before you can get to Bhagavad-Gita, Mahabharata is a big, vast book of, narrations, knowledge. And Bhagavad-Gita is actually there. I think Shanti Pava, when it begins, at the beginning of the battle of Kurukshetra. It's right in the middle of Mahabharata, by the Bhagavad-Gita, which contains, 18 chapters, 701 verses. And among that 701 verses, Lord Krishna spoke 555 verses of Lord Krishna's, speech of the Bhagavad-Gita. And those it contains those words of the Lord. It contains the complete science of the absolute whole. Complete science. Just like Srila Prabhupada mentioning that the non-understanding of this knowledge, so therefore it makes us to have so many speculations of what is reality. But the understanding of this complete knowledge, it makes one be a wise person, a real knowledgeable person. This understanding of the complete whole. And of course, as we're going to be hearing in the Bhagavad-Gita, that unless one becomes a devotee of the Lord, this knowledge will not be understood unless one becomes a devotee. So Lord Krishna told Arjuna, he said, back to Shime Saka Cheti. He said, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, so therefore I am giving this knowledge unto you. Back to Shime Saka Cheti, because you are my devotee and also my friend, because Arjuna, he has an eternal relationship with Krishna. He's Krishna devotee. I've been a devotee, he's a Krishna Shaka, Krishna's friend. So therefore, it's fit to understand, to have this knowledge. Unless one is a devotee, knowledge of the Bhagavad-Gita will not be understood unless one is a devotee. Because the non-devotees can never understand. When Krishna says, I am the Supreme, Krishna says, it's like Jama Kama Chame Divyan, Evanyo Vedita Tota, that, unless one knows that my birth, my activities are transcendental, then Krishna said that, that yes, if one don't understand that my birth, my activities are transcendental, then one will not take birth again in the material world. But how do one understand that Krishna's activities, his appearance, are transcendental? Only devotees can understand this. Only devotees can understand this. Whereas the non-devotees cannot. The non-devotees can never understand, because they are not surrender. So only those who surrender, they are the only one who become devotees. And they say, Vasudev, Savaniti, the Lord says, some Mahatma Sudulaba, those they said devotees are very, very rare. Those who understand, those who take me as the basis of everything. He said, such a person, the Lord said they are Mahatma. He said, such a person, they are very, very rare to find. So in the middle of the Bhagavad-Gita, from chapter 7 onwards, whereby Lord Krishna is actually giving the knowledge, the confidential knowledge of himself, of his devotees, and the confidential knowledge of our devotees, how they relish the relationship with him. So unless one becomes a surrendered person, then this understanding would not be theirs. So therefore, the Bhagavad-Gita It's a complete book of knowledge. And everything is there, whatever one has to understand in respect to nature, in respect to karmic activities, in respect to the time factor. All this knowledge is all there. It's all there within the Bhagavad-Gita. So, there's still more pages of this. Actually, quite a bit of many pages of this long introduction by Srila Prabhupada. How many pages more? From 13 to 28. It's about 15 more pages. Yeah, so which means there will be the next 10 persons at least giving class. We will be reading from the introduction before we get to chapter 1. And this introduction is a big, body of knowledge which Srila Prabhupada composed. And by going through this introduction, then it gives us a very preparation to get into the understanding of the Bhagavad-Gita, to go into the understanding. Because as mentioned, as I said, Sarvapanisadu Gavo, Dugda Gopalanandana, what is that? Sarvapanisadu Gavo, Dugda Gopalanandana, so but what is that? The third line. Anyway, the fourth line is that Dugdan Gita Mita Mahat, that this Bhagavad-Gita, that there are Upanishads, there are 108 Upanishads. And Upanishads, they're like cow, they are compared to the cows. Cows are there. So Upanishads, they're like cows. And then there's the maker of the cow, the cowherd, Sarvapanisadu Gavo, that all the Upanishads, they're like cows. And then the maker of the cow is Krishna. Dugdam Gopalanandana is so the person who's making the cow is Sri Krishna. And Pato Vatsa, Sudhi Bhakta. Pato means, so Palta means Arjuna. Vatsa means the calf. Because for the cow to give milk, there must be calf. So Pato Vatsa, Sudhi Bhakta, so it's Krishna is making the cow while the calf is standing in front of him. The calf is Arjuna. And who's drinking the milk that is coming out, that is being pumped out? Who's drinking the milk? Dugdam Gita Mita Mahat. So who's drinking the milk are the devotees, the great devotees. They are the one drinking this nectarian milk, which is being squeezed out, which is being made by Krishna. So therefore, Bhagavad-Gita is full of nectar. Is full of nectar. And that's why every acharyas, they've all written commentaries on the Bhagavad-Gita. Every Vaishnava acharya, practically every acharya have written commentaries on the Bhagavad-Gita. Okay? Anyway, so it's after 6 o'clock. I can stop here. If there is any question or comments on what I've said, or what is to be said, any question or comments?
Thank you for class. It's not a question, but I was just thinking, as you said, Bhagavad-Gita is a confidential knowledge, but now is it still confidential? I'm just wondering, because we are discussing it, and most of the important text is it's been even the class is taken 3 times on the same shloka. So I'm still wondering, is it still confidential or it was confidential?
It is always confidential.
It is still always confidential.
Yeah. Every year now, for the first time, we had the Bhagavad-Gita class here in Vrindavan Temple. Was the year 2000, I was here 2000. That's when the Gita class started. When Parvati Mataji started organizing it. And then it takes about 2 years to go through the whole Bhagavad-Gita. It takes 2 years. Now, we have been going through for the past, now this is 2022, 22 years now. We have been going through Bhagavad-Gita every 2 years. We go back to the first chapter. And we are still never tired of it.
Yes.
We're never tired of it. We are beginning now. We're going to start, after the introduction, we're going to start from text number 1. Sanjaya Vacha, Pad, Dhammasete, Kurushete, Samabhivati. And we're going to start from that. We're never tired of hearing it. Because such a confidential, nectarian, discussion of Krishna. So therefore, just like when you are chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, have you ever get tired of chanting? Do you get tired of chanting?
No, actually not.
So same mantra you are chanting, but still don't get tired of chanting. Same. The more you chant, the more you want to relish chanting. So Bhagavad-Gita is about Krishna's body, is Krishna's home. How can you ever tell? Nobody ever, it's always confidential, it's always relishable. And the more you try to dig into it, the more you try to see, the more you can discover that confidential aspect. You have to really know how to dig inside. Because every syllable, every word of the verse of the Bhagavad-Gita, it contains such a deep and confidential meaning. You can examine every text that Lord Krishna speak. So that's why our acharyas, they never get tired of it. Okay.
9th chapter is Raj Vidya, secret knowledge.
Yes.
And Lord says Raj Vidya, Raj Gunya, Pavitram, and king of all knowledge. And easy to assimilate.
Yeah, it's easy to assimilate only if we are devotees. As devotees can assimilate, but non-devotees, they find it very difficult. Non-devotees, they want to argue, what is this, because they can never understand. But devotees, because they surrender to Krishna, because they accept the word of Lord Krishna, so they're able to understand. They don't argue. So that's what Lord Krishna said, because my dear Arjuna, because you are my devotees and also my friend, therefore I'm speaking this word unto you. So therefore Arjuna understand. So if we follow the footsteps of Arjuna, we can also understand.
If we follow?
Footsteps of Arjuna. Footstep.
Oh, okay,
footstep.
Right.
We can understand.
I thought you said footsteps. Okay.
Footstep.
Yeah, I understand.
Footstep. Okay, another point?
Which was the last shloka, last paragraph?
It stopped at Vedic wisdom is the last. It ends at Bhagavad-Gita contains the complete knowledge of Vedic wisdom. That's where it ends. So tomorrow, the next person tomorrow will start from the all Vedic knowledge. The next person tomorrow. Okay? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.